Hi, I'm Morteza Kordi, and in this tutorial, we are going to start creating a new Android Studio project. This is going to be our first Android application in this course. So just click on this Start a New Android Studio Project, and the name of the application is Plant Quiz. So here you can specify the company domain. So mine is the default domain. So this is the domain that is actually used in order to identify your application. So you're going to learn more about this later. For now, you can just leave it as default, or you can just say, for example, plantquiz.com. Okay? And here we have the project location. So you can specify a location for your project here. And then here we have two options. It says include C++ support. So we are not going to use C++ in this course, but we are going to use Kotlin programming language. So make sure to check this checkbox that says include Kotlin support, and then click on next. So here it says select the form factors and minimum SDK. So here, let's actually wait a little bit so that it's going to load the stats. First, we need to specify the minimum SDK for this application. So the minimum SDK for this application is going to be Android Lollipop. So this means when we are actually using Android API 22 or Android 5.1 Lollipop, here this means that our application is going to run on approximately 62.6% of the devices out there. So the minimum SDK is going to specify the minimum version of Android operating system that can run our Android application. So here we just need to click on, so just use API 22 Android 5.1 Lollipop as the minimum SDK. Make sure to check this checkbox that says phone and tablet. We are not going to create applications for Wear TV, Android Auto, or Android things here. Later in this course, I might actually create some new tutorials about these other platforms. For now, we are just going to use phone and tablet, and then click on next. So now let's choose basic activity. Here we need to just select a template. For example, we have a no activity, we have basic activity, bottom navigation activity, empty activity. These are just templates that we can create later. So initially, we just want to have a basic activity with menu options and a floating action button that you are going to learn about later. So just choose basic activity and then click on next. And here we can specify the activity name, layout name, title. So you are going to learn all about this later. For now, just click on finish. So now that the project is created, you can see the layout of our application with this Hello World text view at the center and this floating action button here at the bottom right hand side. So here at the left hand side, we have this Android view. So make sure that you also see this Android here, because this is very important. If you're seeing other things, for example, project or packages, you need to change it to Android. How you can do that? You can see these little two triangles here. Just click on it and make sure to click on Android so that you can see the Android view here. So just open this app folder and we have this manifests, Java and Res. So first, let's take a look at this manifests. Just open this manifest and here you can see Android manifest.xml. Double click on this file. So here you can see some information about our application. So let me double click on this tab in order to make this area wider. So here we have a tag named as manifest. Inside this tag, we have this application tag that says, for example, allow backup true icon. So here we can specify the icon, the launcher icon of our application by using this attribute icon. So here it is using this attribute. So you're going to learn about changing the icon of your application later. For now, I just want to introduce you to these attributes. We have the label of our application, which is Plant Quiz. And here we have the round icon. So if I click on this plant quiz here, you can see that there is an address here that is guiding us to another file. So we are going to learn about this string later in this course, in this tutorial actually. For now, just don't worry about this one here. We have this round icon attribute. We have supports RTL, right to left. So this means that our application can support right to left languages. So you can see that the value true is actually put here. We have the theme of our application, @style/app theme. So later in this course, you are going to learn how to change the theme of this application. And inside this application tag, we have this activity tag. What is this? The activity tag is our main activity, the layout, the initial layout of our application. Remember when we were creating the plant quiz application, I just told you to select the basic template, the basic activity template. So that template actually gave us an activity for free, and that activity is main activity. So the name is main activity, the label is plant quiz, the theme is style app theme no action bar. So you're going to learn about action bar later. And here we have this intent filter tag that specifies that our application that can have a main activity. This is going to be the main activity, right? The launcher activity. So this tag intent filter is going to specify the launcher activity. And here we want our main activity to be the launcher activity. So that's why you can see this intent filter tag. The name is android.intent.action.main. And here we have this one category named android.intent.category.launcher. So for now, it's just enough. I just wanted to introduce you to Android manifest file. Now let's take a look at this Java folder. So you can see that when I double clicked on this tab Android manifest.xml file, this area is now wider. So now how we can open the Android view? If you are using a Mac, you need to hold down the command key on your keyboard and then press on number 1 key on your keyboard. And if you are using a Windows machine, you can just hold down the control key on your keyboard and then press on the number 1 key on your keyboard. And if you are using other platforms such as Linux, at the top menu, you can see this file here, right? And now here, I just need to go to, so now let's click on this view, just click on view at the top menu and click on tool windows. And here you can see these options. Here we have this one project and you can see the shortcut. So for mine is command 1. If you are using Linux, you can see the shortcut here. So I'm just going to click on project here. And now the Android view is opened at the left-hand side. So now let's take a look at this Java folder. Just open it and we can see some packages here. So just open this first package and double click on this main activity. So now let me double click on this main activity.kt in order to make this area wider. So inside this file, you can see some Kotlin codes here, right? And remember, the Kotlin programming language uses the Java virtual machine. This means that we can use the Java libraries for free. So at the top of the file, here we have the package. Remember when we were creating the application, we needed to specify a package name for the application. So here it is, that package. And here you can see that I chose the default package name. And here we have some imports. For example, the bundle, snack bar, app compat activity, menu item. You're going to learn all about this later. But for now, just know that this file, this main activity file, uses these classes. And here we have another import. So let's take a look at this one. We have a class called the main activity that inherits from the app compat activity, right? This means that the main activity is an app compat activity. So what is this app compat activity? The app compat activity allows this application to be useful for the older versions of Android operating system. So you're going to learn more about this later. For now, I just wanted to give you an introduction about this app compat activity. Here we have this function onCreate. So the onCreate is one of the Android lifecycle methods, and here this onCreate is going to be the starting point of our application, like the main method when we were actually creating Kotlin apps. And here it is calling the super.onCreate. We have the setContentView method that is going to put the activity on our screen, on the mobile screen. We have the setSupportActionBar that is going to specify the toolbar, the action bar. And here we have a block of code that is related to the floating action button. So if I click on this content underline main.xml tab, you can see this floating action button here at the bottom left right hand side. So let me switch to main activity here. We have some other functions. We have the onCreate options menu. So this function is related to the menu options at the top of our application. So if I click on this content underline main.xml here, you cannot see this menu options here. But if I run the app, so now let me run the application. At the top menu, just click on run, and here it says run app. But before that, before we can run the application, we need to create an emulator that allows us to test our Android application. So to do that, you need to click on this AVD here. So you can see these icons here, and here, if you don't see these icons, so here we have this AVD manager. If you can see this AVD manager, you just need to click on it. But if you cannot see this AVD manager, at the top, just click on tools. And then here, we have this one, this Android here. And then we can see AVD manager here. Just click on it. So here you can see the Android emulators that I created before. But now we want to create a new one from scratch. So at the bottom, it says create virtual device. So just click on it. And then here we have some options. So this means it says choose a device definition. So I actually suggest that you use Nexus 6 or Nexus 5. So let's choose Nexus 6 and then click on next. So here we need to specify a system image, or in other words, we need to specify the version of the operating system that we want to run on our emulator. So here, because this course is actually designed to develop applications for Android 8 Oreo, the API level should be 26 Oreo. So choose this one. So if you cannot see this version here, API level 26, this means that you did not download the API 26. So in order to do that, we need to download and install the Android SDK packages. So now select this Oreo and then click on next. So here we can specify a name for our emulator. So I can say Android emulator. And here the name of the device, the operating system Oreo, and the startup orientation. So portrait is good. So the graphics automatic. Enable device frame. So let's click on show advanced settings. And here it says camera front back emulated, speed full, latency none, and it says emulated performance graphics automatic. Multi-core CPU is checked, and for me is 4, but you can actually use the suggested number that is automatically set for you. And here we have the memory and storage, just leave them as default. And then here, make sure for the internal storage you have 800 or above, and for the RAM, you can see that here, it is good. But if your system does not have a lot of RAM or maybe internal storage, you can actually choose another number. But these are the recommended values. So now I just need to click on finish in order to create my Android virtual device. So just click on finish, and now my Android virtual device is created with this name, Android emulator, and the operating system is Android 8. So now let me just close this window, and here at the top I just need to click on run app. So here I just need to click on this Android emulator, the name of the emulator, And here we have this option. It says use same selection for future launches. So I can check this checkbox and then click on OK. So I think that's enough for this tutorial. And now we can see that our application is actually running on this emulator, Hello World, and we have this floating action button. So you can see this menu option here, this menu button at the top, this ellipsis button. If I click on it, now it's going to actually show me this settings item. I'll talk more about this later. Just if you have any questions about the concepts that I have taught you so far, please post a discussion in the course, and then I'll do my best to answer all of your questions. In the next tutorial, I'm going to continue explaining to you all of these features of Android Studio. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.